Hi everyone, and welcome to the Fake Love and Flying Monkeys podcast. My name's Nova Gibson and I am your host. My area of expertise is in supporting victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse and other toxic relationships. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling Service, and I'm also the author of Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything from the initial pink cloud you find yourself on at the start through to the horrific discard and the powerful trauma bond that keeps you hooked. So take your imaginary seat on the roller coaster that is narcissistic abuse, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. In this episode, we're talking about DARVO. DARVO stands for Deny, Attack, Reverse, Victim, and Offender. And we're talking about DARVO in the context of the narcissist playing the victim. The narcissist loves to play the victim any chance they get, and they will become a victim in the face of black and white evidence that you provide them with, where they're exactly the opposite of the victim. They're the villain, and that's what DARVO is all about. Now, we all know the narcissist will never be responsible for their actions. If it makes them look bad, they are going to deny it. They will never take accountability for anything that they've done. And if they are admitting to something, if they are saying sorry, you know that it's not sincere and they're simply manipulating you. So if they are going to remain unaccountable at all times, then they have to come up with a strategy. And that's what DARVO is all about. It's about denying anything that they've done and flipping the roles so that not only do they avoid that accountability, but you now look like the perpetrator of any type of wrongdoing that you're trying to make them accountable of, something that you're accusing them of. The narcissist can never be responsible for any type of behavior they have engaged in that makes them look less than perfect. It doesn't matter how trivial it might be. If you are trying to make them accountable for something they've done wrong, it might be something as simple as unloading the dishwasher the wrong way or loading it the wrong way, simply because the dishes didn't get cleaned properly, and you approach them, and of course they need to punish you because you have criticized them, you have wounded their ego, and all they hear with your criticism is that you can see behind the mask and you do not believe that they are that perfect human being that they've spent their whole lifetime manufacturing. So let's look at those words again that make up that acronym DARVO: deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. Let's go through them one by one. So deny. You approach the narcissist about something that they have done to hurt you. And the narcissist, even in the face of black and white evidence, denies it. Well, how can they say, yes, I did that, if it's going to make them look bad? So they will refute that black and white evidence, but you've criticized them. So now you need to be punished for daring to criticize someone who believes they are so much better than you. So to punish you, they attack you. And to attack you, they use the strategy of reversing those roles. And that's where reverse, victim, and offender come in. You can also call this projection, when the narcissist is projecting themselves onto you, all of their horrible traits, anything they're doing wrong or anything they're thinking of doing wrong. They project that onto you and then they attack it. In other words, whatever the narcissist is accusing you of doing, if they're calling you a name or telling you that there's something wrong with you, you're doing something wrong, they're really talking about themselves. You can pretty much take every accusation they direct at you as a confession. So let's use that very simple example that I spoke of earlier, loading the dishwasher, okay? You approach them because all the dishes are still dirty because they just threw them in and wanted it to be over and done with in 2 seconds so they could get on with whatever else they were doing. You approach them probably in a very calm way, and the narcissist hears you criticizing them, so they attack you. No, I didn't. I didn't load it the wrong way. You know what? The dishes are still dirty because you didn't clean the filter properly. If you would just spend less time on social media and talking to your friends on the phone and actually doing a bit of housework around here, like cleaning the filter in the dishwasher, then the dishes might get cleaned properly. Now, this is a really simple example, but it exemplifies every single occasion that a narcissist engages in DARVO. And you as the victim have had your ability, if you're still with them when they're really starting to push these strategies, your ability to trust your instincts has been compromised. They have gaslighted you so much that you don't trust your instincts, you don't trust yourself, you don't trust your reality, and gaslighting causes you to turn to the very person who distorted your reality in the first place for what your reality actually is. So a victim who has been conditioned to not trust their instincts and to take responsibility themselves, even when they've done nothing wrong, is going to listen to those words and find something in there that will make the narcissist's words fit. And of course, many victims just want to avoid that word salad and the argument that they know is going to ensue because they know they just can't win it and it's too exhausting. So an exhausted, confused, conditioned victim may reason that, yeah, it has been a little while since I cleaned the filter, so maybe it is my fault. Maybe I should just go and apologize because, there could have been a lot of garbage stuck in there that got stuck all over the dishes. And you know what? They really were helping out by loading or unloading the dishwasher. So what's happened here? You've approached them about something they clearly did wrong and resulted in something having to be done all over again, or maybe you had to wash the dishes by hand, who knows. They denied it. They attacked you for bringing it to their attention. And then they reversed the roles. Instead of them being the villain, in other words, instead of them taking responsibility and going, oh, you know what? I was in a hurry. I did stack them the wrong way. Let me fix it. Instead of doing what a normal person would do, they flip the script and they reverse the role. So now you're the villain, and a lot of the time you as the victim are accepting that and coming up with some way to find some kind of logic in what they're saying to avoid the exhausting confrontation. Now, narcissistic abuse, coercive control is insidious. So the narcissist is going to engage in DARVO in very, very small ways in the very beginning to slowly condition you to tolerate it and accept it and come up with your own survival strategies to survive this abusive relationship, which you probably can't even define as abusive at that stage. So they start off very small, just denying something that you said, and then attacking you for some little thing that you did, and reversing those roles in these very, very small ways so that you now end up looking like the villain and apologizing and letting it go. They're conditioning you to not make them accountable for anything. And slowly but surely, those situations get bigger and more toxic and more ridiculous in the face of black and white evidence. But so does your capacity to override the toxic, confusing behaviors. So let's look at another classic example, a much bigger example, I guess you could call it. And that's when you're in court with a narcissist. They will lie in the face of your evidence, which proves they are lying. They will put their hand on that Bible and swear or affirm that they're telling the truth, and they will compulsively lie. But not only will they lie, they will tell the court that that wasn't them, that was you, that you've manufactured that evidence, and that you're trying to scapegoat them and make them look guilty for something that they haven't done because you're scorned and you're trying to perhaps keep the children away from them. They will reverse those roles. They will also do what narcissists do. They will perform in court whilst they're engaging in DARVO. They will monitor their behavior while all the while they'll be prodding and poking you, hoping to get a reaction from you, which in inverted commas proves they were right and that you're actually the villain in this situation and you are the one who's trying to manipulate the court. So many of you will have heard me talk a lot about reactive abuse. In fact, I did a podcast specifically on reactive abuse a couple of months ago. So go back, guys, and look for that podcast episode. But reactive abuse is when the victim reacts on cue, when the abuser, the narcissist, has baited them. And the baiting will involve just prodding and poking and poking and poking and provoking until finally you do exactly what they wanted you to do by reacting, often in a very explosive and volatile way. And of course, your reactive abuse and the narcissist abuse are two very different things. The difference lies in the intent and the motivation. The narcissist prods and pokes you and abuses you intentionally when you are provoked over and over again till you finally do what every normal human being would do when they reach that point. You explode and you act in a way that is so far removed from your character. So we call that reactive abuse. But when the narcissist is doing this and they get you to think that you're the narcissist because of your reactions to their abuse, and you feel bad. That's not you. You don't want to be that person, and you look at that behavior and maybe you apologize for it, and you certainly try not to act that way again in the future. They've engaged in DARVO. They have denied any wrongdoing when you first start trying to make them accountable, and then they start to monitor their behavior, all the while prodding and poking until you react in that volatile way, and then they attack very passive aggressively a lot of the time when they get out the video camera and film you while you're reacting, or maybe not. But whatever happens, your reactions will be what is the problem. So they deny, then they attack you because you reacted, and then they have managed to, again, reverse those roles. You're now the villain because look at you. You're screaming and yelling at them and acting like a lunatic in their words. And here they are calm and cool. And you're trying to call them the narcissist. You're trying to make out that they're the abuser. Another very typical scenario that the narcissist engages in DARVO would be in the counselor's office. How many of you have sat through a counseling session with a narcissist thinking, hoping, praying that the counselor would be able to make your loved one see the light, see how their actions are hurting you, and instead of listening to anything the counselor might say, which a lot of the time is not going to be what you hope they would say because they're being manipulated by the narcissist. But the narcissist sits there in the counselor's office and they manipulate the counselor and deny what you have said. They tell the counselor that it's not them that is the problem in this relationship, it's you. Even if you did get a counselor who saw through the narcissist's manipulation and actually supported what you were saying, the narcissist would fly into a narcissistic rage, perhaps walk out, storm out of that office, or never go back to that counselor because that counselor was biased and or they're hopeless. They don't know what they're doing. So in a counseling session, you are always going to be re-victimized, re-traumatized by the narcissist because they are never going to admit fault, and they love to use those times because they have an audience. They love to flip the roles very manipulatively, and the counselor sees the narcissist acting calm, cool, and of course you sitting there hearing your partner or your loved one just tell these pathological lies, and the counselor's actually falling for it. You start to get angry, frustrated, maybe you're crying, and it proves the narcissist right to the counselor. The counselor thinks that there is something wrong with you. And the narcissist has used DARVO to thwart your attempts at making them accountable for their actions, even with a professional third party. So basically, the strategy of DARVO that every single narcissist uses is based on gaslighting, projection, blame shifting, deflection. Pretty much every devaluing strategy that you can think of is incorporated in the tactic of DARVO. So guys, if you have been on the receiving end when the narcissist in your life has used that strategy, DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, please do not feel any shame. This is not your fault. If you reacted, it's because you were conditioned over time to react. It is a weapon that they use to make you stop trying to make them accountable, and they get further sadistic, narcissistic supply when they can actually take what you said and turn it back on you. So they avoid accountability, and they've also got you looking like the villain and often accepting that you're the villain, and again, often apologizing for what you did when you were, in inverted commas, the villain. Guys, it's a setup, and if you carry any shame, I want you to give that shame away to the universe, to your higher power, because it is a sadistic, manipulative technique they use to destroy you and to destroy your self-esteem, self-worth, and confidence. And that brings us to the end of another Fake Love and Flying Monkeys episode. Thank you for sticking with me through to the end, guys. I hope that explains a lot of situations that I'm sure you endured that were just so confusing for you when you ended up being called the bad guy, even though you had never done anything to earn the title of the villain. If you would like some one-on-one support, please don't forget I am a professional counselor, and if you'd like to book a Zoom counseling session with me, just see my website in the description. Don't forget to get your copy of my best-selling book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse, available in Audible and Kindle as well. And please leave a rating and a review, guys. It's the best thing you can do to keep this channel going. On that note, it's bye from me for now. Until tomorrow's episode, remember, you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of so much more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.